Welcome to the video. My name is Troy Gerber. I am a Microsoft Solutions Strategist and Power Platform Advocate. Today's video is going to be a bit of a dirty one. What I mean by dirty is not the Christina Aguilera way, but I'm not going to edit anything. I'm going to basically work through what I want to show, and we'll just do it hands-on. And whatever goes wrong for me, hopefully it'll be something that you'll learn from and not do for yourself. So the topic today is Fusion Teams. We've heard that term a lot from Microsoft over the last few events, and the whole idea behind Fusion Team is it literally means that at any stage of the development or build of a Power Platform solution, and for today, let's say Canvas app, there are different people involved. It might be the person who's doing the UX or the UI, UX and UI, your Power Platform builder or your Canvas apps builder, maybe a developer who is building a control for that Power App, as well as your release cycle. Anytime there's different people involved in the app development process. With Fusion Teams, the idea is that everybody should be able to do what they need to do and without having to impact anybody else, and also work in a collaborative way. One of the things that has been missing a lot from the whole Fusion Team concept in the good old days was that if you were doing prototyping of your Power Platform Canvas app, so you want to first mock it up for a client, you couldn't take that mock-up or that, say, clickable wireframe and take it into the Power Platform. You need to start over. So you need to basically have the wireframes on one screen and start building the app from scratch again. What Microsoft have introduced recently, it's about a couple of months back now, is something called something where you can integrate Figma, which is the design Canvas app. And this is by no means a Figma demo. You will learn nothing from me about Figma in this video, but be able to go from Figma to Canvas app without having to do a rebuild. So that's the premise. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to open up Figma. We're going to build a very simple app, and I have a pre-cooked one as well because it would take too long to build it from scratch. And then we're going to take that app that we've built inside of Figma, or that layout that we're able to show our clients, and then we're going to import that into Power Apps. And if everything works well, Power Apps will then go, hey, I recognize this, and I'm going to build this app up and make it available for you to use as a base. And then you can plumb in your functionality and your data. So let's do that. I'm going to switch over to my desktop. Right. So for today, I have logged into Figma. Now, if you don't have a Figma account, no worries. You can get one for free. You can actually sign up at no cost. You get just about all the functionality you need to play around in. And if you do decide that you want to use it more and it's going to be your mainstream tool, then you can go for the subscription model. What I'm using is a free account. So whatever you've seen today has been done using the free account. When you fire up Figma, there's a whole bunch of things on stuff you can build, but that's not what we're here for. We're interested in the Microsoft Power Platform UI kit. So Figma uses something called assets, which is basically pre-built components, so for you to be able to use to do your mockups and your layouts. Microsoft have come to the party and said, hey, we are going to create a whole asset pack for you, and you can just use that asset pack to start building your Power Apps, or let's say your Canvas apps inside of Figma, or building the layouts, and then we'll know what they are also when you bring them in. So let's start from that, and let's see, how do we get hold of this UI kit? So in Figma, if you just once you've signed up for the free version, search files, teams, or people. That's where you want to be. So I'm going to pause for a second. You need to have signed up for the free Figma account and logged in, because at some stage you're going to need to access that login environment to get a token. But we'll park that for about 10 minutes. So from here, I'm going to type in Microsoft Power Apps. And just by typing that in, you'll see I'm already getting quite a nice drop down. What we're interested in is the one second from the bottom, Microsoft Power Apps, Great Apps from Figma by Microsoft. And you'll see there's a couple of thousand duplications. We're looking for the by Microsoft one, not by anybody else. That's what we're looking for. So we are going to go back into the screen and hit enter again and click on that. It will take us to a new tab, or basically refresh our tab. This is the UI kit that Microsoft have built that you can use to actually start building your apps. I won't go through the details on it, but there's a get started section. There's a design your app, tells you how to design, how to convert your app. They even have sections on supported components, and they even have a sample app that you can use as a base. So if you want to have an app that you can actually use as your first import to get how it looks like, that's there as well. Supported components is something I would highly recommend people go through. It shows you all the different controls, and I'll zoom in on this one using Figma's zoom, the Figma zoom. He says, and then it goes away. Like I said, we'll keep this nice and dirty. This one will give you an idea of what components are available and how you can use them. Cool. So text inputs, these are the text inputs that are available, and what you can do, you can change the font size, etc. But that's for another day. So this is where we want to be, and this is where we need to start. So Microsoft Power Apps. So this is their UI kit. We need to make a copy for ourselves to use. So once again, we're logged into Figma with the free account. We go get a copy. What get a copy will do, it will basically copy that to our area in Figma. Figma has this concept of area, so it'll be in our drafts for now. And what it's doing is copying all those pages that had that data, so the how-tos, as well as all the assets needed to create pages. Once again, not going to go through this detail, but you can see there are the pages that we had. All good? Happy place. We want to now start creating our own app or our own layout that we want to import. So let's have a quick look at what we need to do there. First, I'm going to quickly highlight in the top left-hand corner layers and assets. Layers is where you create the pages, effectively the canvas that you're going to work on. Assets are the components or the controls that you can drag into your page. So let's have a look at what those assets look like. If I click on assets, I have a whole bunch again, and you'll see that we have everything from phone assets to tablet assets, and the controls we have there are very familiar. Scrollable sections, buttons, labels, drop downs, etc. So this is everything I need to be able to build an app. We can go back to layers, and this is where we can start. So the first thing we want to do, and you want to stay inside this downloaded solution, you don't want to go somewhere else, is you want to go to the top and say add new page, and give your page a name. We'll call it my mobile app, for lack of a better name, version 1. Enter. This is our blank canvas. This is now where we can start adding those assets that Microsoft have provided for us to do mockups of our app. So we're going to go to assets. I'm going to quickly drop these all down so you can get a sense of what they look like. You'll see phone or tablet, so you need to decide what your app is going to be. Is it a tablet or is it a phone app? I'm going to go phone, and there's a screens section. I'll zoom in just to show that off quickly. And now I can drag a phone screen onto my designer. I'm going to zoom out. So there we go. Fantastic. And this is where I start. This is my first screen. So this could be my landing page, my app. So if you read through all the instructions they give you, and there's a lot of them, they'll tell you what to do next, but I'm going to do that for you. Once you've got that phone screen on your canvas, right-click it and go detach instance. I don't know technically what that does in Figma, but what I understand is basically says you've created a new instance of the layout, so it's not attached to those assets anymore. It's now something you can use in the edit. Now I can go in and I can delete the text section because I'm not interested in that at all. Now that I have my layout, I can add as many of these as I like. So if I want to go for a second layout, for a second screen, I can do the exact same thing, detach instance, and kick it off. Okay, like I said, we'll keep it simple. Phone 1, phone 2, detach instance, there we go. Okay, we're going to keep it even simpler. Like I said, a dirty demo, no edits. Right, now I can go and start building up my screen. You have access to all the controls on the left-hand side, so if I need to bring in a label, I can drop that onto the page. If I need to bring in a text input, I can have a look at the different text inputs that are there. I might want to have box, and I might need a drop down. So I'm not going to bore you with dropping a whole bunch of controls onto a page, because that obviously is something you can figure out yourself. But you get the general idea. You basically can now sit here and go and build what that page is potentially going to look like in your app. And you can add whatever you need to. The trick here is only use these assets. Don't use anything else. That's trick number one. Microsoft doesn't recognize any other assets from any other pack. So if you are a Figma person, don't go and bring your own assets in. Another thing is, when you click these controls, on the right-hand side, you'll see that there's a the controls have a name. So it says MSFT input, text input. That little name tells Power Apps what this control is. So it's a text input, and Power Apps will then, when you do the import, will create the control on the other side. If you change that name, Power Apps won't recognize it and will just give you a blank spot. So don't mess there. This is the area on a plane. So I could build this up, and there are a couple of things you can do here from a layout point of view. One of the cool things you can do is you can add images. So I can go place image and actually drop an image in. So let's take the little beating image, drop that into my page. And you can also do things like add rectangles and lines, etc. So you have that sort of better input experience. So you can build it up. Now, once you've built it up, the next thing you want to do, once you've built your full app, the next thing you want to do is you want to be able to publish that to Power Apps. How do we do that? And I'm going to show you the steps, and then I'll actually use the demo app I built to give you an idea of how that works. So if we go to Power Apps, so make.powerapps.com, and I'll do that from scratch so you can see it working the way it should be. Go to make.powerapps.com, make sure I'm in my dev environment, triple checking that. Take docs. Yep, I am. Awesome. You'll see on the first page you have a new tile called Figma Preview. Start from our Figma UI kit and convert it into an app. That's what we're going to be starting off at. So I'm going to go Figma Preview, and I'm going to get a pop-up that says I need to know your app name. So we'll call this the demo app. Now it wants to link to the Figma page or frame. So let's quickly go back and see, where do we find that Figma page or frame. If I go back to my Figma app, this we have here the phone part, and that is the frame. But we're not interested in the frame because we actually want to bring the whole page in. We might have multiple controls. So we need the page URL, and that is over here under layers. If I go back to layers and I click on layers, there is that page I created earlier, my mobile phone app V1. And to get the link to it, right click it, and it'll pop up and say copy link to page. Literally that simple. You can copy link, you can go back to Power Apps, drop that into your link there, and then it asks you for a personal access token. So this is one we need to pay a little bit more attention. Personal access token basically gives Power Apps access to that page without it logging in as you. So it's the same type of auth we use with apps in Azure. Where do I find that access token? We're going to go back to our Figma instance. We need to go back to where our user settings are. So we're going to go to the top menu, and where we see the cute little Figma logo, we're going to click on that and say go back to files. What this will do is give us access to our settings. So top right hand corner, you'll see your icon. If you've got a picture there, awesome. I've just got the T. And if I click on that, I will get a drop down menu. We want to go to settings. Settings will fire up a new pop-up, and we're interested in going down this page to, there we go, personal access tokens. This is where we can create access tokens. Now the cool thing is you can create multiple access tokens and give them to different people. I've already created a couple. I can't get the access tokens once I've got it. So I'm going to create a new one for this demo. I'll call it the demo access token, and you hit enter. What it will do, it'll pop up and say demo access token created. This is the token number, and I'm going to go copy this token. It'll copy that to my clipboard. Now I can go back to Power Apps. It says access token. I can paste it. I'm good to go. So those are the three things I've done. given my app a name, linked to the page, got the personal access token, and now I need to tell Power Apps what format I selected when I built the Figma layout. I used the phone section, and I go, right, hit create. What happens here is Power Platform goes to Figma, and connects using the token, finds the page based off the URL, reads the frame, reads the different components that you've added into the frame, and says, I know what these are. I'm now going to create a Canvas app with one screen with the controls that you specified in Figma. That is going to take probably about another 5 seconds. Let's have a look. Figma, let's go back to where we were. Recents, that's the one we had over there. We'll have a look at what the difference is between our page. Here we go. My first mobile app, V1, label, value, button, label, value, data. So exactly the same. If I run it, it'll render, anything will work fine. So that's how easy it is to actually go from a Figma layout to a full-blown Power App. Let's quickly back and let's go leave this one and let's try something. Let's do that again. This time we will actually use a pre-built app that I've had before. So I'm going to go back to files. But as I said, we have pre-baked one. So I obviously have a little bit of a pre-built one floating around, and that's the one over there. So in this case, exact same thing as I showed before. I've just spent a lot more time with the colors and adding a few different controls. I've made my layout a little bit prettier, and I've got a few. I've got an image as well, and just made it look a little bit nicer. So I have 3 screens. I want to take that into Power Apps. Let's use the exact same way we did before. I'm going to go to where my page is, so right click and copy the link. Go back to Power Apps. We're going to go Figma Preview and call it the second demo app. We're going to link to the page. We just pasted now, and the personal access token is in our clipboard, so we can just grab that again, and we're going to go phone layout and hit create. So we'll give that a few more seconds than we did with the previous one because we've got 3 screens. Same thing, perhaps is heading off to Figma, finding the 3 screens, creating 3 screens in Power Apps, replicating the controls as best it can from what we've got. So let's give that a moment. Loading, fantastic. Cool, not bad. So here's our 3 screens. Let's quickly zoom in so you can be sure. Screen home, new form, and form confirm. So remember my names. I can now go up and do the things that we typically do. Make sure the form's on the right place. Move my new form up. So there's my home screen. Let's have a look at what that looks like compared to the Figma. Not bad at all, actually. Very, very similar. Cool. And from here, I can go and do the wire up where I wire everything up. So let's actually show you that it is not too difficult to do a wire up. And let's add some data, and we'll use our best friend ever when it comes to quick data sources, power of SharePoint. And I have a SharePoint link. Let's quickly go and find our SharePoint demo sites. Everybody has a SharePoint demo site, and we are going to do, let's have a look at what data source I could use. IT alerts. There we go. So now I can literally just go into the control. We know we're not going to use those values anymore. We're going to use IT alerts, the base, and we are going to choose title as our list. Let's run that, and bingo, bingo, bingo. So in less than half an hour, I've gone from a app that has been built by a designer that I can basically get design sign off by my customer and able to push that through into a Power App solution that I can wire up to all the data and functionality I have in the background. Awesome. So this is a preview. It's in preview at the moment. It's available for everybody to use. Couple of tips and tricks for if you are going to go down this route. Number one, not every single control that is available in Power Apps, Canvas apps is available in the UI designs. There are a couple floating around. You can mock up flat screens very easily. If you are using forms and scrollable areas, that's supported as well. read through the documentation. It's worthwhile actually going through some of the examples they give you. You only have to create the UI, the access token once and copy it somewhere, but if you do lose it, just create another one, easy peasy. Make sure that when you're doing your design, if you choose phone layout, make sure you use phone layout. When you import tablet, the same as well. I found with the tablet layout, it is a little bit less forgiving than with the phone layout because it's quite a structured one. The tablet layout, it tends to use a lot of containers. So practice between the two. Don't just assume that you can build it in Figma and throw it into Power Apps and everything will work perfectly. There's definitely some cleanup to do, but it's definitely a massive saving. So if you have any other questions, drop them in the comments and I'll respond as soon as possible. If there's any other parts of the Power Platform that you might like to see AI Builder or any other capabilities that you're uncertain with or like to know how they fit into the bigger picture, by all means let me know in the comments as well and we'll add them to the future video lists. Thank you for watching this video and have an awesome day.